G'day, welcome back to the Xtreme Sports Hour. Great to be with you this evening. If you have just joined us, you've missed out on a bunch of action that was shown early in the show tonight. So make sure, as of tomorrow, jump on AustraliaLiveTV.com, check out the past episode. There's a whole bunch you've missed. But if you are tuning in now, you have come at the right time, as we are joined on the phone by jet luge legend Bob Swartz, all the way from the east coast of the US. Can you hear me, Bob?
Yeah, I can, Nathan. Good morning.
Hey, well, it's evening time here, but definitely good morning to you. What ridiculous hour of the morning is it over there?
It's like 5:15 in the morning.
Well, mate, we appreciate you joining us here, mate. Did you have to fire up that jet luge engine just to wake yourself up?
No, but 2 cups of coffee and a Red Bull works fine.
2 cups of coffee and a Red Bull. Now, this jet luge is pretty impressive, and as we talk, we're just throwing up some vision of it now. Is it the case that you just jump on the jet luge to go down the shop and grab that coffee in the morning?
Say that again. I'm sorry.
I'm saying with your jet luge, is it the kind of thing that occasionally you might just take a ride down to the shops on it?
Well,
the store?
I would draw a little attention doing that, but I have done it. I have a little shop just down the end of the road.
Well, that is something I would love to see, you going just down the street on your little jet luge.
I've actually tested this in my neighborhood. I have great neighbors, and they love it. They call their friends. They call me up when their friends come to town.
I'm sure you would be a bit of a celebrity amongst your street for sure, let alone everywhere else. Bob, tell us about some of these speeds on the jet luge. 56 miles an hour. Over an eighth of a mile, 78 miles an hour for a quarter, and the unofficial speed record of almost 120 miles per hour on an airstrip?
Yeah, well, it's a lot of fun. I love the high speed, but although it gets a little bit out of control after about 90 miles an hour. But it's not the fastest vehicle in the world, but 1 inch off the ground, it feels like triple the speed. And it's just a big adrenaline rush.
I think that's an understatement, Bob. Like you say, 1 inch off the ground, everything feels a whole bunch faster. And so for us here watching, as we're having a look at you now, while I speak to you, we can see you on the racing track now, going at speeds in excess of 100 mile an hour. Talk us through some of the feeling when that's going on.
Well, when I take off, it's actually very slow. It feels much like leaving on a jet plane. You hear all the noise, but there's very little speed, and then it gradually builds up. And it's a nice, smooth ride. And then after a while, you hit a certain speed when you're like, oh, my God, I'm going this fast. And I just hang on and feel little bumps in the road and just prepare for being bumped off course so I can correct. And at a certain point, when it actually starts to weave back and forth, and I have to relax and control it, and just actually, the best thing to do is to relax. And when I get towards the end, I sit up and I put my feet down to brake.
Well, talk us through that a little bit, because it is you are literally inches from the ground, and your feet are your brakes when you sit up to brake. Have you ever had a situation where you have perhaps not relaxed and a foot's clipped the ground or something like that?
Actually, yes. I was shooting a TV show for country music television, and I didn't have my setup proper, and I was a little bit nervous from all the TV cameras, and they had like 15 of them. And I approached 80 miles an hour, and I started to wobble. And because I was tense, I ended up laying my elbow on the ground, and it burned a hole in my leathers and made a bit of a mess of my arm. But then I remembered to collect myself, and I straightened it out last second before I tumbled over. And fortunately, I was okay.
Yeah. Thankfully, lived to tell the story. Bob, what got you started in riding the jet luge here? What sort of, you just wake up one morning and went, you know what, I'm pretty keen to get in speeds of excess of 100 miles per hour only inches from the ground?
my love for sledding down the hill, snow sledding. But there isn't snow around here for much of the year, and one time I saw people street luging on television for the X Games, and I said that would work for me. So I built one, and I got into it, and I started going to the races and doing pretty well, and I got into World Cup downhill racing with the street luge, no engine. And from there, because of my engineering job, I started trying to think out how I could go faster. And also living on the East Coast, there's very few mountains, so how can I go and practice my luge anywhere? So I have to put an engine. Well, the jet engine tickled my fancy, and I pursued the design of this, and it worked out very well.
Yeah, you're telling me, like, just the concept of having a modified jet engine literally sitting inches from your head, let alone how fast you're going, that's a rush that you wouldn't really be able to match anywhere else, hey?
That's true. Just to give you a little example, when I first turned the jet engine on, I have no experience in jet engines. When I first turned it on, I was expecting the worst, like it was going to blow up or pieces were going to fly everywhere, and so I had all kinds of safety set up with a whole team of people in case like I got injured or something. But after a while, I got confidence with it, and it worked out very well. I have two computers that control everything because I can't look at like a dashboard for indications or anything. I have to pay attention to controlling this. So the computers take care of everything for me. And it's actually, through design, it's much safer than it looks.
Well, I don't think that would be that hard because it really doesn't look that safe, but that's why we love it, Bob. But you're really all over this because you've essentially hand-built and designed this yourself to ride, hey?
Well, the engine itself I purchased. The engine's for like large RC jets or military unmanned aerial vehicles. The machining process of building a jet engine is well beyond me. But to use it 3 inches from my head, that took a lot of craftsmanship and computer programming and different design work. And also to protect from sucking my hair into the jet engine. And I mean, there was a lot of thought that goes into this. And I have a new design for a twin jet engine, jet luge, that has a vertical stabilizer in the back. And for sustained speeds of 150 miles an hour, perhaps my dream would be a pre-race show at, say, Daytona, the Daytona 500.
I love it. Bob, that sounds pretty crazy, the concept of hair getting sucked into a jet engine. I don't actually have a whole bunch of hair myself. I think I might use that excuse from now on as why I'm follicularly challenged. Bob, we've been watching clips of you on the jet luge. We're about to show some vision of you on the street luge now as well. Tell us a bit about your street luge form.
Well, street luge it's a lot of fun. It's relatively cheap sport. I mean, it is nothing but a long skateboard. You lay on it, go down hills, lean to steer, slow down with your feet. And we compete like with the 6 people at a time going down the hill. And I don't know if you saw this in the email, but there's a very big World Cup competition in Australia in November. And I'd like to invite everybody out. I hope to get down there. It's a lot of fun. We have all the gravity sports. And it's downhill skateboarding and street luge and inline skates. And it'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah, it is a big competition. You're talking about the one in Bathurst Panorama, Bob?
Yes.
Yeah, we're actually exploring the concept of being able to sponsor you to get you out here because looking at the vision, we would love to see you out competing here in Australia, mate.
Oh, I'd love to do that for you. I'd represent you guys and take you for a fast ride.
Hey, Bob, I'd love to have a ride. I'm just having a look at this and I'm thinking that this beast would go really nicely. Our studio's in a place called Adelaide, and there's a street called Hindley Street, which about About 3 a.m. on Sunday morning, this thing would go really nicely down that street.
Oh, yeah. And one of the things about street luge is it really is very easy. You control your environment, and it's safe, but I've taught 4-year-olds up to 75-year-olds to ride street luge in about 3 minutes training.
Well, on that topic, you talk about teaching 4-year-olds. I believe you're a grandparent, Bob, is that right?
Yes, I have a 3-year-old granddaughter, and she loves to push the skateboard around, which is works. A longboard works for her for street luge. And also, I wish I sent you a picture, but I actually put a electric leaf blower on the back of her skateboard, and she can act like she's on Grandpa's jet luge.
Well, I have no doubt you are actually the coolest grandparent ever. Not only have you made doing their chores easy for them, but I reckon you'd kick ass at Grandparents' Day at school. Like you'd probably have a fair bit on the other grandparents that come along.
Actually, I enjoy teaching in schools. I go help the teachers out in some of their physics classes, and I use a skateboard and a jet luge as an example. And it kind of helps students set their dreams high on things that are interesting rather than the dry subject of math and physics.
Yeah, I tell you what, looking at a jet luge like this, I do a bunch of speaking in schools myself, Bob, and I guarantee out in Australia you'd have a bunch of schools that would love seeing you. A bunch of physics teachers that I think you'd be able to hold their attention a little bit better than them when you start pulling out the jet luge and showing some of these videos.
Oh yeah, it's a lot of fun.
And probably a lot of fun as a mode of transport for somebody who hasn't quite got their licence yet to go to school in the morning, rock up in the jet luge would earn a fair bit of credibility, I think.
Yes, it would raise people's attention.
It's good times. Tell me, one last thing I am interested in, Bob. You talk about braking with your feet on this thing. Have you ever had a situation where, because you're getting some crazy speeds, has there ever been a case where you're doing that, like you say, you do the burnout at the end of your track, where you actually blow out your shoes and you have some trouble with your feet as you're braking there?
I've never blown out my shoes. A couple things have happened. If the street is not clean and we hit gravel, it's kind of like, it feels like putting your feet on bearings. And I have gotten my feet pretty hot. But if the bottoms start to burn out, I just turn my feet to the side a little bit and put my hands out and air brake also.
Yeah, I love it. You just ad-lib. I asked this as a young kid who grew up. I live on quite a steep street, and so we grew up on our skateboards doing exactly that, going down and then just absolutely blowing the crap out of our shoes. Mum hated it. Our brand new shoes would get worn out in about a week, but it was good times.
Well, I actually glue motorcycle tire to the bottom of my shoes, so it gets a lot more life out of it.
Yeah, that's what I needed, motorcycle tyres on the shoes. I wasn't smart enough to do that as an 8-year-old. Bob, thank you so much for joining us. I realise it's a stupid hour of the morning over there, but hopefully we can catch up with you out on our soil here and get you out and speak to you at a normal time of the day.
Oh, I'd love to do that. I'd come out and promote everything you guys are doing. I love your show.
You're a legend, Bob. And folks, stay in touch. Bob's website is just click on the link just below. You can have a look at Bob and all the stuff he's doing. With any luck, we'll see him out in Australia a little bit later this year. Thanks a lot, Bob.
You have a great day, Nate.